Global markets and US trading partners are bracing as President Donald Trump prepares to unveil what could be sweeping new tariffs. Trump has billed Wednesday as Liberation Day, saying he will end other countries taking advantage of the United States economically. But many US consumers are worried that higher import taxes will translate into higher prices. And analysts, both in and outside the United States, are warning that far-reaching tariffs could disrupt the global economy.
The New York Stock Exchange opened to cheers and applause. But after the bell, a shaky day for trading followed, fuelled by uncertainty. Nothing spooks markets like unpredictability, and the details of Donald Trump's tariffs are still unclear a day before they're set to come into effect.
Good to see you all. The president said last night he has made a decision and a determination. This is obviously a very big day. He's with his trade and tariff team right now, perfecting it to make sure this is a perfect deal for the American people and the American worker. And you will all find out in about 24 hours from now. And then we'll see you all tomorrow for Liberation Day. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Caroline. Thanks,
Caroline. And while the president appears to be enjoying all the media speculation, many consumers seem to share those worries reflected on Wall Street.
I'm worried about the tariffs.
Why?
Because it's going to make most of what I buy more expensive if it still remains available.
I think it's going to hurt a lot of people in this country, yes. Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Well, the increase in prices, things are tough enough as it is now, and then increasing prices is going to hurt a lot of pocketbooks here.
The Democrats compared the tariffs to a tax rise for working people.
Does America hear that? Donald Trump says he couldn't care less if you pay more. And it's not just a little. The estimates go as high as $6,500 more for the average American family.
The emergency is being invented to do the tariffs, to do the taxes on everyday Americans. Why? So they can use the tariff revenue to give a tax cut to billionaires.
To the north, Canada's Prime Minister, currently on the election trail, had this to say.
Thank you, Terry. We are going to be very deliberate in terms of the measures we take to fight for Canada, fight against these unjustified measures by the U.S. administration, but also to protect, to have that minimal impact in Canada.
Back on Wall Street, the markets remained volatile the whole day. The White House stayed tight-lipped, and an apprehensive world awaited Donald Trump's announcement.
Let's cross now to DW correspondent Janelle Dumalaon, who's standing by for us in Washington, D.C. Janelle, great to see you. So, paint a picture for us of how ordinary Americans are preparing for President Trump's so-called Liberation Day.
Pablo, I can tell you we're in a bit of a strange situation where we've been talking about tariffs for so long. They have been an integral part of Trump's brand for so long. And now that this big day is coming, we still don't know exactly what to expect. Will Liberation Day be a day where Americans are liberated, or will they be liberated of their purchasing power? That part we do not yet know. And I think it really is hard for consumers to plan. I have been talking to a lot of them, and many of them are telling me, listen, we don't know if what we're supposed to do now is stockpile at what could still be lower prices, or whether we should be saving our money in case life gets more expensive. What I can tell you is that consumers have been trying to prepare for the tariffs that they already know about, the tariffs that have already been announced, like that 25% tariff on imported cars and imported car parts. So dealerships here have been deluged with inquiries. But with regard to the tariffs that we don't know about yet, it really is difficult for them to plan. But there are a lot of concerns here around affordability, especially considering that a lot of voters here voted for Donald Trump because they thought he would be the one to get those prices under control.
Right, Janelle, but then let's talk about Wall Street. How much anxiety is there?
I mean, if you've been paying attention, you can really see that there has been a fair amount of anxiety. We've seen the market swing, we've seen stocks broadly lower, and mostly that is caused by the uncertainty. I know I keep saying it, but we don't know exactly what form these tariffs are going to take. And businesses are going to have to plan for various scenarios. So are we talking about a universal tariff, something like a 20% tariff on all imports coming from everywhere? Are we talking about reciprocal tariffs where Trump simply matches dollar for dollar all the tariffs that are coming in from other countries? So businesses have been trying to plan. They've been sort of looking at their costs. Will these be tariffs that are divided between suppliers, divide where suppliers assume all the tariffs, or whether they'll pass them down to the consumer? That part is still unclear, but I can tell you it is not beyond the realm of possibility that we get an announcement tomorrow, and it will be a big sweeping announcement, but the details will not be clear as to who pays for what at which stage, and that kind of continued uncertainty would be detrimental to businesses.
Janelle, remind us what Donald Trump wants to achieve with these tariffs. What's his strategy?
Well, like I said, he's been into tariff policy for a really long time. He really does see it as a negotiation tool for other trading partners. He sees it as a source of generating revenue. But really, his long-term goal here is to bring manufacturing back into the U.S. Now, of course, we don't know whether the theory of his theory of the case will pan out. There are lots of reasons for manufacturing jobs to decrease, automation being one of them. But I suppose this is going to be an experiment any way you look at it.
All right, we'll leave it there, Janelle. But of course, we'll be keeping a very close eye on the next 24 hours, that's for sure. DW correspondent Janelle Dumalaon in Washington, D.C. Thanks.